Okay, be quiet now. Okay, here. Good morning and welcome. It is Crafting Adventures with the Cricut Joy week. Hi, how are you all? This is everybody's favorite week. We've done this before, I think, a couple of years ago, and there are definite people who just absolutely love the joy, and that includes me. And and I just love this little machine. I think it's underestimated how popular it is. I think it's very popular with people who are used to doing handcrafted paper crafts. And I've seen people like May and others. I think Ralph Tyndale, a couple other people use this, and it is a fun project to use, both with or without things like stamps and other projects that you might do, ink and things like that. So I thought having a week that just talks about different projects, what you can do, what you can't do with the machine. Most everything can be done on this machine. And we do have a lovely schedule this week. Today, we're going to just introduce it, talk about smart materials, and then we're going to do some car decals, and I will make available some of the designs that I use for my car decals. So let me get back to this and when it launched. So in 2020, Cricut actually flew us out to Salt Lake City, Provo, really. And was it Provo? Yeah. And introduced us to this little machine. And at first I was like, smaller? Are you sure we need smaller? But once I started playing with it, we were really excited to see how it worked, and this whole idea of smart vinyl, which is using materials, or just smart materials, using materials without a mat, was born. And now, as you guys know, and after that launch in 2020, the company came out with the Maker and the Explorer 3, the Maker 3 and the Explorer 3, which also has smart vinyl and smart iron-on as materials. It also is great for making cards, and there are different kinds of cards that you can make with it. It has its own app, and yet you can still use the Design Space app. The reason why they created the app was to make this machine truly a kind of out of the box experience. Something that you can just basically move from room to room. It's very small, and it opens like this. It has only one cutting head, but you can open it up and replace it with things like pens, or there are, what else, foiling. The foiling works as well. Here, the foiling was introduced later, but it's a really sleek design. There are no buttons on there. There's just one cord, and that's for the electric. And you notice that there's this big hole in the back, and that's so that your product, whatever you're cutting, can come out and sort of come in and out of the machine. And there is also, you don't just use smart materials with this product. However, there are quite a few smart materials available, but you can also use their mats. There are special mats, both to make cards called insert cards, but there are also mats that you can use just to cut non-smart materials with. So I want to just kind of like go over, and I just feel like one show is not enough to go over this terrific machine. So yes, it's small, and it also has limitations, but for the most part, it can do just about anything that the other machines can do, as evidenced by some of our friends who are really devoted to this machine. And I'm going to bring up someone, I don't know if she's here today. Small but mighty. Yes, I agree. And it's great for tiny little projects and stuff. And it takes them as they say, it has a small footprint, and it actually has a cute little bag that you can carry it around in. So you can take it to, an event. I actually took mine to a Christmas event last year, and we made glitter ornaments using it and put vinyl on it. Just, it was a perfect application for it. So whether you own one or you don't, this is kind of the week for you to sort of decide, do you really need it, or is it maybe just not for you? Do you want to do bigger things and this is too small, and then you can, sort of move on. But it gets kind of underrated, I think, and it's just a terrific machine. So yeah, and Cheryl's saying she has both the Joy and the Maker. Now, before I got this in 2020, yeah, I had the Maker. I loved my Maker. I still have my Maker. This is before the Maker 3 came out, and the Explorer 3 came out, and I thought, cool, smart materials. This seems pretty fun. And I'm just going to show you a couple of materials. So this is called Smart Vinyl. And you'll notice on here, if it says permanent, there's also repositionable or removable. And you can buy these cute little boxes just for actually a few dollars. Most of them have 48-inch rolls in there, but you can buy things such as this, which is sort of a sampler. This one is a metallic sampler, and you get 3 sheets. I've already used several sheets, but you get 3 sheets, only 18 inches long. It also comes in longer lengths, and I'm going to show you that right here. So here is Smart Vinyl that is in tomato red, and this is permanent, and it's a 10-foot roll. I find storing these so much easier than storing the rolls that I have. They easily fit into kind of like a little box, and I have a bunch of stuff. The other thing that the Cricut does that's smart is Smart Iron On, and we're going to be going over that. I think it's Wednesday we're doing Smart Iron On, and I'm going to show you how to cut it and weed it, and using the Cricut Design Space app. Now, the thing about this with no buttons is that you do need to have Bluetooth with some sort of device. I generally use my iPad as a device. You can use your phone as long as it has Bluetooth, and you can also use like a laptop or even a desktop computer. The only thing is it does require that you have Bluetooth, and that's how it gets away with not having any other connection. You see, it's just electric here. So, how am I feeling? Oh, yeah, sorry, I just kind of jump on in. All right, so before we get really into it, how are you, Christiana? I just so you guys know, I got my blood transfusion last Thursday. I got 2 pints of O positive. That's what I am. I never knew what my blood type was, but I'm O positive, and I got my blood transfusion, and I did feel a little better when I left, but I think it really took a couple of days for me to start feeling really like back to normal. I had very, very low hemoglobin and very low red blood cells from 2 surgeries that I had earlier in the year. Well, one I had about a month ago, and the other one I had like 3 months ago. So they were leg surgeries, and apparently leg surgeries, there's a lot of blood loss when they do those, and so that's what I've been told, and that's what probably put me into an anemic state. I feel pretty good. I don't want to jinx it because I'm like, the last time I said that I felt really, really good, I ended up having an emergency and going to the hospital and get my hip replaced. So I want to keep my fingers crossed. I want to thank everybody for their thoughtful words and for their prayers. I feel pretty good, but I'm heading into a pretty busy social time right now. So I'm like trying to get to the point where I can walk with just a cane right now. I'm kind of in the house. I did go out on Saturday with Owen, who's my son. We went actually went to pick up groceries. That went very smoothly. But then I headed over to CVS, and it that did not go smoothly. And it led to me having a little bit of a meltdown because they closed the pharmacy window. They didn't have enough people on, and they said come in the building, but there's no way that I could have come into the building. So I was quite upset, but Santo came to my rescue and went over and got my prescription for whatever it is that I needed. Anyway, so I'm feeling better. Yesterday I just kind of rested, relaxed, did my exercises. I still have a little issue with my knee, but I'm icing it, lidocaine. My mother blesses it every single day. It's doing better. I got all my staples out. It was a very busy week for me last week. Now coming up, I have a wedding on Saturday, and so I've been thinking about that, like what I can do besides just giving them money. What should I give them? And so I've been thinking a lot of Cricut, and I want to make them, especially I want to make them a really nice card, but I also was thinking about making them a box of Christmas ornaments because they just got a brand new house, and I always like to give something with my money gift. And then in 2 weeks, my sister turned 60, and we are planning a very large lobster bake with 10 people. And my sister's like, we're going to need 20 or more lobsters. And I'm like, that's a lot of lobsters. But we're also going to have a number of other wonderful local New England delicacies, like steamer clams and baked stuffed shrimp and scallops and corn on the cob and baked potatoes with sour cream. It's going to be so good. And my sister's birthday is September 3rd, and she will be 60. So she wants to have a big cake. And my sister, as some of you have learned, is kind of bossy. She's sort of sassy and bossy, which is great because she sets the tone. And it's been really it's good for me because she just tells me this is what I want, and then I go out and plan that. But my sister's coming down from New Hampshire, my other sister, and we'll even see my niece and my grown-up niece and her boyfriend, and should be a lot of fun. My son is a huge lobster fan, shellfish fan, really, and so this should be a lot of fun. And then Owen starts school right after that, and then my sister goes away, and in September she's going to the Dominican Republic for a week with her significant other, so that'll be fun. But she went away this weekend, and I was like missing her, so there's that. Anyway, but that's how I'm feeling. Thank you so much for asking. I am feeling better. I don't want to say like, oh yeah, I'm back, and because I'm afraid that that's gonna jinx me. I know I shouldn't believe in that stuff, but it kind of do anyway. Anyway, and just having a lot of fun here now that I can actually keep my head off of a pillow. You know what I mean? I am making positive progress. And I guess, this is kind of how it goes with the metastatic or chronic disease, is that it's not, it's not like, um, it's little things that you're getting, and there's a lot of, let's try this, let's try that, that sort of thing. And O negative is universal. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. All right, so let's get started because I don't want to lose people that might have come on and they're like, I just want to talk about the joy, and I do too. So let's get started. I love you all for thinking of me and for praying for me always. So appreciate it. So okay, so one of the first things we learned about the joy was about smart vinyl, but we have a whole week planned of using iron on, smart iron on. We're going to talk about making cards, and that does include insert cards and then just making little pieces of cards to put together, which I think a lot of our card makers do. And then what's the other thing? I wanted to show you how you can use other like designer SVGs, such as this one that we've made before. This is from my scrap chick, and so these little bits of these little projects can be done on the Joy as well. So you got to keep your eye open. There are some limitations. The Joy obviously doesn't have as wide of an opening as, say, an Explorer or a Maker does. So what you have to consider when you're designing or when you're using images is that one of the two, whether it's height or width, needs to be one of the two measurements needs to be 4.25 inches or below, and the other one can be long, and that's why we get long sheets like this. So this is used, as you can see, it says 5.5 inches, but that is so that it can go in the machine without having, let's just show you, without having this is how the smart vinyl looks, and you can see it has these two little pieces over here about 1/4 of an inch on either side, so that it can go in and under these rollers. So when you first get your machine and you open it up, the first thing that you want to do is to find which implement you're going to work on. This is my iPad. I like working with the iPad with my Joy, but you can use your phone, you can use a laptop, you can even use a desktop computer. You just need to use something that has Bluetooth. And this is what you will need to do when you first turn it on. You need to go to whatever device you're using and choose settings right here. And you'll notice that this is my settings, and here is Bluetooth. So you click on Bluetooth and you'll see mine is now connected, but you need to connect things. For instance, here is my Maker, and I could connect this from here, my Maker 3, if I wanted to, but I'm going to disconnect that. Let's just go ahead and disconnect. And you can do the same thing with the Joy. If you go here, you can disconnect and then reconnect. So there's the first step. You need to be able to communicate with the machine, and that's how you do it, through Bluetooth. Now make sure your Bluetooth is turned on, and if your device is actually electrified, is turned on, you should see it here, and then you just connect it. Then you're going to use one of two apps. There is the Cricut Joy app, which is strictly for Cricut Joy, and it does quite a bit of things. We're going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but you can see here it does cards, it does vinyl crafts, and make labels, iron on, and a lot of paper crafts as well. That's called the Cricut Joy app. And then the other one that we use is the Cricut Design Space app, which is this one here. Now, if you don't have those apps, you need to go and get them. If you're working from an Apple device, this means that you would go here to where this A is. You see that? That stands for applications or apps. Okay, so if you click on that, you can just do a search and just type in Cricut, Cricut. And if you just type Cricut, you will get a number of other people wanting to kind of cash in on the Cricut thing. And you'll see that there are some things like this that are not official Cricut applications. These are the Cricut applications. This is called Cricut Design Space. And then the other one is the Cricut Joy. You see, there's Cricut Joy. These other ones are not Cricut controlled apps. So you do need to kind of think of that, even though they look like they might be Cricut. So you do need to download those apps, and then you have to decide which app you're going to use. I'm going to use the Cricut Design Space app, which is this one. I already have this open. So all of these images here I got from the Cricut Design Space image search engine. And I decided, I actually, this is my third year. So I was supposed to turn in my car. It was on a lease. I was supposed to turn it in August, but because of all the stuff that I'm going through, I decided that I was going to extend my lease. So I figured I would create a new car decal for my car. So I found these lovely encouraging word images, and you could find them too. I just went here and started, I'm going to just put the plus sign. I'm going to hit replace. So when you start, you might go here. Now, if you're starting from scratch, you may not already have projects that you are working from. I've been using this for 3 years, so I have created my own projects that I know are specifically for Joy. So I go to my project section, and you'll see here I have a lot of decals. I have some for when I go to haunted happenings in Salem that are for witches. Not every witch lives in Salem, that sort of thing. Some of these I purchased on Etsy, and some of them I got. So you see here where this is my project, and so there's an A there. That means all the images that are used in this file I can share with you because they come from Cricut Design Space. And if you want to get information about this particular project, you can go to I can go to edit product details, and you can see here. So I have this encouraging words, and if I were to, I have to save the tag and all of that stuff. So let's save it. Okay, and then you can also share it. So I don't discard changes. Yes. Okay. So as I said, you need to watch out for one of the measurements. You need to have one measurement, whether it's the height or the width, can't exceed 4.25 inches. Okay. That's because the mouth of the machine is only so wide. It's actually 5.5 inches, but it needs that space so that the rollers can pull it in. Okay. And in terms of finding images, I just want to go here and just show you, this is a project that I thought that we'd work on today. These are all encouraging words. And if you click on any one of these, you will notice right here, I don't know if you can see that. Let's go up. I'll click it and I'll get bigger. But you notice that it tells me what size this is. So this is 5.06 inches by 4.21 inches. That means that because one of the sizes is below 4.25, this is perfect for the Joy. Okay. And so if you want to come and pick up this file, I'll make sure that it's available after the show. And here we go. We can choose to make all of these, or we can choose a few that we want to make. And let's start off small. So I'm going to go to layers. When I go to layers, which is down here, okay, right there, I can choose which ones I want to see on my canvas. So just simply by clicking on, right? And you can turn this little eye off and on. And I'm trying to do the one, let's do have courage and be kind so you can see. So see that, have courage and be kind? I'm going to just turn that little off and it disappears. So if you are opening one of my files and maybe there are 6 or 7 different things there and you only want to say, to cut 1 or 2, then you need to go to layers and just click on that like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on all but 2 of them, and there they are. So then I hit layers again, and you'll see here I've got these 2, and they are both size so that I can cut them on the Joy. So let's go ahead and cut these on the Joy using, oh, I don't know, let's try this pink in honor of Barbie, I guess. And plus I already have one that's this green, which is my favorite. I already have this green on one side of the back of my car. So I think I'll put one of these on the other side. So here's what we need to do. We're going to hit make it. And you will see that I have these 2. You see how this one being wider than it is tall has turned it sideways. But this one is about the same. It's like almost a square has turned. It has not turned. Okay. Now this is where you would make changes, but I don't want to get into all the changes that you can do. I just want to show you a really easy cut. Okay. So we're going to do this just like this, but if you do want to change things or add doubles and all of that stuff, you would do it up here, but let's keep it simple. Okay. So we're going to go to next, and here is where you're going to make sure that you're using the right material. So I'm going to use the Smart Vinyl in Permanent. So I'm going to look for the material. Now you can either choose things that are bookmarked, but if you're brand new, you probably don't have anything bookmarked. So choose all materials. And we can go here and look. See, there's vinyl, there's permanent, shimmer, removable, there's label writing, which we don't want, but I clicked on anyway. There's a matte metallic, there's a stencil, and also holographic patterns. So we're going to choose Smart Vinyl Permanent. This is just my preference, but I always put a little more pressure on my blade. I feel, especially when cutting vinyl, I feel like it just gives it that little extra oomph, and it makes weeding so much easier. So now I'm almost ready to go, and I'm looking at the description here, and it says I need to load tools and mat. Well, in this case, I am not going to use a mat. So I want to make sure that it says, yeah, without mat, right? So here we go. That's just like shouldn't be there, load tools and mat. So you'll notice when I get to this place, my Cricut's blinking. That means it's ready to accept the product that I need to put in here. So this is Smart Vinyl Permanent. Okay. Now some of this stuff might be too simple for some of our regular watchers, like they might already have mastered these things, but I just want to be out there and let people know that the Joy is a great option, and there are lots of things you can do with it, and you just need to make sure the very first thing you need to do is take it out of the box. Take the machine out of the box, put it somewhere. It's very small. You could even put it, say, on your dining room table or whatever. I like working with this at other places. So when I go to places, like I said, downtown Peabody, or when I'm working with Wendy, my friend at Create and Escape, I bring my Joy along with some of these smart materials. So this is a smart vinyl permanent that is 48 inches in length. Now, what we're not going to do is cut this material before it cuts on the machine. A lot of you are used to, say, using scraps or cutting the material and putting it on a mat and pushing it in. You don't need to do that with this machine. So once you see that it's flashing, you're going to put the product. You see it has these two sort of blank strips on the side. You're going to put it underneath these guides, and you'll see that the rollers start moving right away, and it's going to take in, and what it's doing now is measuring to make sure that I have the right amount of material for this project. So that's why I say don't cut it, leave it in the roll, and it will measure it yourself, okay? And so here it is. I have the pressure set from Moore. I have my material set for smart vinyl. So I'm ready to go, and all I need to do is hit go. So I'm gonna do that. Go. And it will start doing things and start cutting, and it's pretty quick, but there's a lot of detail here. You don't need to use a very detailed thing. These are two cutesy dog things. Be the person your dog thinks you are. And then this one says, tell your dog I said hi. I really like this one. I think I might substitute this dog, which is just adorable, but you know, I have a fondness for corgis, so I might take this out and put a corgi in there. I think that would be kind of fun, or maybe two corgis with their nose touching with a little heart or something. But I just think that's really cute. And be the person your dog thinks you are. I just love that. So these are all possibilities. Last year I went to Haunted Happenings, which is a very large event. Never worry about keeping it simple. It was a very, very large event in Salem, Massachusetts. I live in Peabody, and so Salem is right next door. In fact, Peabody used to be part of Salem, and we have our own witch history here. And so my friend Wendy, as I mentioned, Wendy from Create and Escape, and I went to Salem Commons. They had all kinds of vendors, and people were walking around. Some people dressed up to the nines in all these costumes. It was really a fun event to see. And I came up with all of these stickers or decals. I made a bunch for, like, it said, you know, all these different witches, like Wicked and 1692, and sold them for $5 each. So if you are somebody that like feels like, oh, I could do that, this is how you would do it. You would cut them, and I cut all mine on the Joy, but I did them ahead of time, and then I weeded them all and added a transfer tape. So you can use this regular transfer tape. It doesn't have to be the smart transfer tape. In fact, I think the smart transfer tape is kind of overpriced, but they did introduce this last year, which is linerless transfer tape. So I thought that we would try this because I haven't tried it with the Joy yet. So you'll notice it's still cutting, and you can see how my little cut is sort of only done a little bit of the pie. And so we'll wait for it. There's a lot to cut out, so we'll wait for it. I'm going to move it over here. So once you get done with something, you will have a cut. It does work on Joy Vinyl. All right, so let's try that linerless transfer tape here. Jamie Leonard is telling me that the linerless transfer tape works really well. The thing about smart vinyl for the Joy, it was the first time it came out, and removing it from the backing was a little difficult. I'm going to show you what I would do, but it was a little bit difficult to get it off, because the idea is here's your decal, okay, and you're going to put this transfer tape on top, and then you're going to remove the backing, and you'll place it, say, on your window, right? You place it on your window, you press it down, make sure your window's nice and clean. And if you are feeling uncomfortable with putting it on your window, you can use a small amount of like soapy water, not too soapy, but a little bit of soap, and it gives it kind of like a movement on where you're going to put it. Makes adhering it a little bit easier, right? And then once you put it on, you're going to take off that transfer tape. I've seen some people around town, you know, driving around, that they have their decals with the transfer tape on still, and this transfer tape is meant just to transfer, and so there you go. So what is transfer tape? It is basically, it's a clear tape that, I mean, you could, I suppose, cut things out of it, but I've never cut anything out of it. And it is used just simply to transfer a design, a vinyl design, onto whatever surface is going to go on. The linerless transfer tape is exactly what it sounds like. There is no backing to it. So let's have a look at that. So this came out last fall, and you see here it's not white, so you're going to find the edge right here. It also comes in a 12-inch roll as well. So let's take this one, and we're going to, actually what I would like to do, or what I like to do, is I like to take off some of this extra, because I don't need to use terrible amount of transfer tape. It's kind of wasteful. Now the transfer tape can be reused over and over again, unless you're, say, selling it, because if you're selling it, you're selling it with the transfer tape on, right? Because people need to be able to transfer it on to, like, say they bought something last year from me and they want to go home. Maybe they're from Iowa and they want to go home and put it on their car in Iowa. They need to have this transfer tape. So when you're selling your decal, you'd sell it with transfer tape on top of it. So this is linerless transfer tape. It's simply transfer tape that has no backing, okay? And so you can, let's start here. We're just gonna start right there and put that on there. And then using both hands, you're going to remove the tape from the roll, makes a lot of noise, and then smooth it down like this. And I'm just going to take my True Control knife and just cut it off. And that is, I think, much better for the environment, because there's no extra backing there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just remove this part of the transfer tape. It's just going to get in the way of when I remove the decal from here. So let's just kind of clean it up. If you have scissors, you can use scissors. I'm using my True Control knife, which is kind of like an X-Acto knife that's made by Cricut, which I really love this knife. It's one of my favorites, so I have a bunch of them hanging around, and I don't need to be all that neat here. But what we're going to do is, once we have the transfer tape on, we're going to use something like this. Okay, which is, this is called a scraping tool. They come small, they come large, and what it's really good for, besides scraping things off your mat, is to burnish. So the goal here is to get this tape to be the top of the tape to be stuck to the transfer tape so that we can then transfer it to wherever we're going to go. So we need to do something called burnish. So don't be afraid to do this part, and definitely make sure you get all of it. And all I'm doing is just pressing this, see that? Pressing it down onto that transfer tape. See that? I have to make sure I do my whole design. All right. And then what we're going to do, make sure I get that. Then what we're going to do is we are going to peel off. And here you'll see it started. We're going to peel off this. And Jamie, you're right. It's coming off really, really easily. So this is for when you're going to transfer it, okay? You wouldn't do it ahead of time because you don't want to get this sticky. Because remember, underneath this is sticky. So that's what's going to stick to the car window or wherever it's going. And you would then remove this, and you could even, if you feel like you're not good at placement, you can just fold down a part of it so you can look and decide where you want to place it. So I'm going to place this one here, just so that you can see what I'm doing, and I'm lining it up here, and I'm just starting it. And now I don't have this big wobbly thing that I'm going to transfer. And I've already tested that the transfer tape is going to come off. So now I'm just going to, using both hands, see how I'm pressing down on the left side. And then I'm pulling on the right side to remove this backing. Okay? Once I get there, there's my backing, which you can throw away or recycle. I recycle mine. All right, and then pretend this is my car window or whatever. I'm going to go back and I can do that burnishing again, because now I want to remove that liner, and I just want what's left, which is my design, to stay. So I can just go ahead and use that, and then I'm going to pick up the corner, and if you have to, you can use something to pick it up like this. And then I'm going to very slowly remove the liner. Now see what I'm doing? I'm kind of rolling it over itself. This for me is the best way to do it. I think a lot of people think they can just pick it up and just, but I like to go slow, so to make sure that all of my letters or all of my design is going to stay put while I remove that liner. Now, as I mentioned, this liner can be reused, although I do notice that with the linerless tape, I keep calling it a liner. This tape can be reused. With the linerless tape, it does sort of curve a little bit, but it can be reused. So I'm going to stick it to the side of my workspace. Now my machine is done, and you'll notice on my iPad it says unload material. So I'm going to hit OK. So I've unloaded. I'm going to just move this aside. Doesn't that look real nice? Be the person your dog thinks you are. And I have here my 2 cuts. Now I am going to just take this, and I might, because I'm not super good at cutting straight, I might take my little, this is my ruler. You don't need to use a Cricut ruler, but this is something that Cricut made or makes, and I'm just gonna remove that here. And now I can take this stuff, this is what's left, and I can put it back into my box. I think this works the best way as far as for storing your vinyl. So I'm just gonna re-roll it a little bit and put it back into its box, and then it's not like all over the place, to make things sort of neat. And we've got 2 things here, and there are a lot of cuts. It's a very busy cut. I'm not sure if you can see this. And I think what I'd like to do is I would like to separate the two, and I'm just going to look for the natural break that's in here between these two, and again use my True Control knife, and I am going to cut it straight across to make it into two pieces. All right, everybody with me so far? Did I put it on my rotary mat? My rotary mat. What's my rotary mat? Oh, this. Yes, this is my what do you call it? Self-healing mat. That's what I call it, but you might call it something different. Now, once you have something cut out, you have to go ahead and remove the excess. And I don't think you're going to be able to see this until I start removing. But what I like to do after I cut it is I do like to kind of press it down with my hand, because sometimes that cut makes it sort of lift, and I don't want to be missing some of my design. Okay, and then I'm going to start in one corner. I usually start top left, and I'm going to start peeling off, and you're going to start seeing my design. But again, keep your eyes peeled, because you don't want to be missing something when you're peeling away. So here we go. Believe, and look at it's starting to come through. Oh, it's so cute. Believe. I'm gonna just sort of, but there is a star that I want to make sure I keep. Star, come on, keep there. The star might be gotten in the way there. And look. Oh, so cute, right? Now, this, if you're doing it for the first time, can be a little frustrating. And when I first started doing it, I was like getting it stuck all over my design. So what I have learned to do is I've learned to sort of take it off using one hand and making sure I'm going real slow, and then see how I'm crumbling up the excess vinyl here, because I don't want it to get restuck onto my design. And then here you go, and then you can put your your used stuff over here, and then you're going to take your weeding tool and just go ahead and take out the negative spaces like this. Believe in yourself. So this O, and here's the E. You can put it on your scraps here like this. Some people, when they're weeding, and there are a lot of people that they'll weed and put it on their hands, but I don't necessarily like that, because I don't like things touching my hands too much. I want to just make sure that if I turn it a little bit, it shows me where I have to cut. So look. This is such a beautiful sticker, isn't it? It's so pretty. I'm going to show you where I found them, if I can, in a second. But you'll see. And you can also pick up my design in the Cricut community. So there you go. Hey, so I was on Facebook last night, and I saw that our friend April, who used to be a Cricut product expert with me, is retiring from being an instructor. She's still going to make her stuff, but she's retiring, and I asked her if it would be possible for her to come on with us, because we did have her come on at least a couple of times, and she gave us some really great advice. She's really smart and has been cricketing about as long as I have. And she said, yeah, maybe that could be arranged. So so if you're a fan of crafting with April, and she is closing her her groups, come on over. We're happy to have you. This is an extremely friendly group. We know each other. We've known each other for a while, but we love newbies to come along, and that's, you know, we're accepting of all people, and we just love to have new people. We love to chat. If you're on the chat, make sure you say hello, because these folks are just fantastic. So very good, very nice, welcoming friends. So you'll make some new friends, and you can ask whatever questions you want to ask. And it's kind of a unique format for cricketing. I mean, I know there are a lot of Cricut people out there that show how to do things, but the cool thing about us is that we do live video, and I usually do it Monday through Friday. And during that live, you can actually participate in the chat and ask questions, because I'm not able to read all the chat all the time, but we've got Loretta and a number of people that have been doing this for a very long time. And so they are very, very helpful. So please say hello, and you'll get to know people. And you'll meet some people from all over the United States and Canada. Sometimes we get people from the UK even, or Australia. So, but the time is so much different over there. So, you know, that's not a frequent. Most people come on and visit us, and maybe they can't make the whole show, but they might just say, hi, I just wanted to come and say hi. And that's completely fine. I love making new friends, and I love teaching people. It's my passion. For me, this is not about money. It's about like conveying my passion, my interests with other people. And so I'm never gonna make you pay for something, and you know, just to be part of our group. There will be, you know, times that if you want to contribute by being, like, say, a patron, you can go to Patreon and sign up as a patron of me, Miss Rita, to the rescue. But I just use that money, which, you know, it's just a little bit of money every month, and I usually use that to buy more material so I can teach you different things. I was a Cricut product expert for 9 years. Oh my gosh. I was asked to be a product expert in 2014. That's when they came out with the first Explore, I think. Yeah, I think so. And I really enjoyed doing that, doing all the Cricut projects, and you know, meeting all these new people, especially during the pandemic. I don't know what's going on with this F. This F looks a little weird. So I'm gonna just, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna just kind of move it back here, but it's sort of missing the magic of beginnings. You need that F there, but it kind of ruined it. But I think you'll be able to read it, even though the F is a little bit off. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to take off all these little pieces off your finger, just like this. And again, we're going to get our transfer tape. Just make sure, let's do this one. Believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. So here is our piece of transfer tape. And it, as I said, it's a little bit scrolled or something, but I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to just push it onto my design. It's a little small for this design. My other design was longer than it was tall, so I actually did this kind of not so great, you see, because I have this little bubble in here. But that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this extra piece and I'm going to put it over here. By the way, I am unconventional. Like, you know, there are certain ways that Cricut will teach you how to do stuff. And I'm one of those, I'm an incredibly imperfect person. So let me just move this over so you can see it. I'm an incredibly imperfect person. And I show you how to handle it when you make mistakes, and that way you're able to if it happens to you, which until you get really good at it, yeah, it might get these problems. So I want to show you how to work around it. So see how it kind of bubbled? That's okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use our little scraper tool, and we're going to try to remove that bubble. And if we don't remove it all the way, that's okay, because remember, it's just the transfer tape here. So I'm just gonna go easy here and make sure that I'm picking up all those letters. Okay. And you see, I kind of like did a patchwork up here because I want to make sure that I get that top of that B. All right. And let's see if it's going to pull off. Like Jamie said that it works really well. Oops. This part I didn't. All right. Let's see how this goes. Oh, and by the way, I have dogs, and their hair gets everywhere. If you're working with vinyl, that can be frustrating. So just be careful of it. Now see, it's not completely going on there, but I probably didn't burnish it as much as I should, because this is where that bubble is. So let's try it over here. Now, removing this from your car, like it's say you have a lease and you want to remove it from your car, these come off fairly easily with either like a blank razor blade, or you can use like again some soapy water, and ooh, it's coming off, baby. All right, all right. So there it is. Believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. I need this on the back of my car. Now, let's say you do that and you're like, oh, wait, I'm not ready to place it. Go ahead and put it back down on your backing like that, okay? Or if you want to place it, again, you can use, and you can just kind of like fold this back a little bit. I find that easier to deal with than the whole thing. So for me, I can kind of like go, okay, so it's kind of straight here, and let's put this one over here underneath this one, since we don't have a car to use, and I'm going to sort of line up that B. Let me change this so you can see. Yes, is Annette on today? Because she is the joy queen. She absolutely loves her joy, and she's learned to do a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even think they knew about, you know. And so she's taken cards that were intended for the larger machines and made them joy size or fun size, I guess. And so here I am, and I'm just gonna go like this. There's my piece, extra piece. And then again, I'm just peeling off, like almost like I'm rolling it off like this, you see. Now I didn't line this up, but just so that you can see how it works. And I think I could use this piece of transfer tape even again. But look at that, isn't that beautiful? Just beautiful. My W is a little lifted, so I'm going to go back, make sure it's all on there really well, so that way you won't lose that W when you take your car. And this is completely like waterproof and permanent, will stay on your car for, oh gosh, 4, 5, 10 years. I've seen people have them on forever. They don't generally fade, especially if you use the permanent. Okay. So that is our first show. Sorry about going a little bit longer. Thank you, Sheila. 5 times. Okay. So the new linerless only works good maybe 2 or 3 times. So I've used this one twice. What I do is I take this and I stick it to the side of my workspace. This stuff is actually kind of curling, so it's not really that great. There you go. That is all about our beautiful little Cricut Joy. Again, this is the first episode. There's so much this machine does, and so I needed to have a whole week to explain to you how it works. And so today's smart vinyl, and here we did some car decal. Now, if you want, you can go to the Cricut community and find me. I hope that you can still find me. I'm gonna save this because I did make some changes by removing some of those, and you'll see here I'm in. This is part of the community. These are people that are following me. I think if I click on here, it takes me to the actual. So this was this a project that I have, but this is me, Miss Rita to the rescue, and you can see I have over 2,000 followers and I have over 700 projects. So I'm going to make sure that these other projects are ready to go and you can pick them up. I'm going to go to my stuff, projects. There's the encouraging words, and how do I change it? Okay, I think I'm going to use the triple dot. I'm going to edit the project details. I'm going to put a picture in there, but I don't have a picture yet made. And then I add tags so people can find it. So I would type in vinyl like this, and then I maybe do car decal, car decal. Okay. And that is that. And then if I want, I can put a description in here. I do always put a description in there. And then who can view this project? So you have these 3 settings. Private, you don't want anybody to see it except for you. Anyone with a link, it would be people that I sent a project link to. Or you can do visible in Design Space, which is what I like to do. And then I hit done and I save it. Once I save it, it asks me, whoops, if I want to share it. I don't want to necessarily share it this time, but we'll try. I'll just hit share because I don't know what it does, to be honest with you. It said share, so I don't know what that means. All right, let's try that again. Share. Nothing's happening. Well, I'm going to have to hit done. All right. So there is my project, and you should be able to find it if you go to my, there it is, if you go to my Miss Rita to the Rescue profile. So you can go ahead and look through, and nearly all of these are Cricut Access images. So you can see that they have the A here, and you can come and take a look at my over 700 projects, and there's everything in there. Okay, so that's gonna do it for me today. Tomorrow we're gonna play around with the card mat, and we're gonna be doing something called insert cards. Now, insert cards are a lot of fun, easy. So if you're looking for a card to make, there actually are a ton of pre-made cards. So let's say your child says to you, gee, Mom, they're having a going away party for our friend at you know, at my internship, you can go ahead and go into the Cricut Joy app and make a ton of cards. So we're going to be doing the Cricut Joy app, and we're going to be working on insert cards. You see here it says ready to make, and we're going to need our Cricut card mat, which I'll show you. I don't know if it's listed here, it shows you here, but maybe it doesn't. So we're going to use our card mat and these insert cards to make a few insert cards for our friends. All right, everybody, that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow when we're going to talk about insert cards and the Joy app. All right, take it easy. And remember, be the person your dog thinks you are. All right. All right, take care, everybody. Bye bye.